I don't know about you guys, but it feels like we're about a week and a half through this head coaching search, and we have learned nothing. All we know are the candidates, who they've interviewed, who they've requested, and that's it. And we're surrounded by a ton of other head coach searches that feels like they get news dumps, they get rumors every single day, and instead we're just kind of sitting here looking around and waiting for it to be finalized. And the Baltimore Ravens are hiring blank as their new head coach. Well, on today's show, I hope to give you at least something because a certain candidate did get a second round interview with the Baltimore Ravens. I'll tell you who that is. After that, Atlanta might be moving in on a Ravens favorite, at least one of my favorites, to be the next head coach. And then this offensive guru, is he coming to Baltimore? Feels like there's been a little bit more steam picked up recently. I'll tell you all about that on today's program. Before we get there, though, make sure you subscribe to the channel because it is free, and we're 99 subs away from 44.4K. Big red sub button. You can't miss it. And appreciate you guys. If you guys have joined us today, if you've joined us before, and if you haven't, make sure to hit that sub button. Tom Pelissero is the one who is bringing us this latest news, this latest update, that it seems a certain candidate is getting a second-round interview. Pelissero went on to say on the NFL Network, my anticipation is Stefanski is going to have second interviews with multiple teams coming next week. My sense is the Titans, Falcons, and Ravens are all potential landing spots for Stefanski. So what I believe Tom Pelissero is insinuating right there is that Stefanski's going to have a second-round interview with the Ravens next week. And this would be the Baltimore Ravens' first second-round candidate. Now, we know what the plan is. Steve Bisciotti and Eric DaCosta pretty much just told us it point blank on Tuesday. They want to interview around 15 coaches and then get that down to 5 and then choose their final one from there. If I were the one running the search, this would be my dream final 5. Robert Saleh, Brian Flores, Klint Kubiak, Jesse Minter, and Chris Shula. If it was me running this whole thing, that would be my final 5 right there. Notice Kevin Stefanski is not in it, and we can pretty much assume from what Tom Pelissero said, he is in their final 5. And I bet you have mixed opinions on that. We'll go into this a little bit more in-depth tomorrow, but Kevin Stefanski, we all know him from Cleveland. Got to play him and normally beat him twice a year over the last 6 seasons. 45-56 record, 1-2 in the postseason, 0 division titles. However, he did win Coach of the Year twice in 2020 and 2023. The one thing I will say about Kevin Stefanski is when he did have a decent quarterback, like a quarterback that actually has a pulse, like Joe Flacco, even at this age, and Baker Mayfield, he did have a winning record. It was when he had pretty much everybody else. He was 13-27, and then Deshaun Watson and Dylan Gabriel, he was 10-15. It's not his fault he had to coach 15 different starting quarterbacks in his 5 seasons with the Browns. If they do end up hiring Kevin Stefanski, I'm not going to lie to you, it would be a pretty meh hire for me. Like, it would be one of those things where I wouldn't really be that excited about it, but I wouldn't really be devastated about it. It would just, like, the notification would come in, and I'd be like, all right. Like, I think I'd be more upset that you passed on other candidates than upset that you're hiring Kevin Stefanski, if that makes sense. How would you feel if the Ravens hired Stefanski? Let me know down below in the comment section. I want to hear from each and every one of you. This is going to be the pinned comment down below, so make sure you answer it. So if it's not Kevin Stefanski, I was a little bit hopeful it was going to be Robert Saleh. And Ricky Scoops is back, ladies and gentlemen. If this is your first time with us in the channel, you've never heard me talk about Ricky Scoops. This is a guy who hides behind this profile, but he has unreal NFL insider info around the trade deadline, around NFL free agency. This dude was absolutely nails. He disappears, he comes back, he drops nuggets, and disappears again. Well, he said, hearing that Josh Williams is the current favorite for Falcons GM position, if hired, look for him to possibly bring in Robert Saleh as coach. Matt Ryan prefers the head coach previous experience. Stefanski has also been linked to the opening. And I'd be pretty upset if Robert Saleh gets off the board. Robert Saleh, over the last week or so, has really, really risen up my ranks. Now, he's always been at the very top, pretty close to it. I think the lowest I've had Robert Saleh in the last couple of weeks has been like 3rd. But the longer we go, the closer he creeps up to that number 1 spot. Now, the number one spot is still Flores. It always has been, and it probably always will be. But if it did end up being Robert Saleh, I'd be really, really excited about it. So it is upsetting to hear that the rumors on the street are whoever that new GM is for Atlanta is most likely going to bring Robert to Mercedes-Benz. There's multiple reasons why I like Saleh, okay, and why I believe he'd be great with Baltimore. He's an unbelievable leader of men. I think that's what this team needs at a time like this. He's a great defensive mind. Look at what that 49ers defense is doing with no Nick Bosa, no Fred Warner. He has awesome offensive connections. What I mean by that is he spent years under Kyle Shanahan. He's connected to the Shanahan tree, which I believe would do wonders with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. And then I believe he'd bring back that physicality. The physicality that's left the building, the physicality that does not exist anymore with Baltimore. There's no doubt in my mind that if you hire Robert Saleh, that's back at it. Who is your number one Ravens head coach candidate? Let me know down below in the comments. I still think mine is Flores, but Saleh is getting pretty close, ladies and gentlemen. Real quick, got to tell you about our awesome sponsor of today's show. It's our great friends over at Prize Picks. And whether you are starting a new routine in the new year or trying something new or making player picks for the first time, all of those things when trying new can be hard. But in life and on Prize Picks, it always feels good to be right. With high-pressure playoff matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never stops, and Prize Picks lets you take control. Prize Picks now has early payouts. If the lineup gets off to a hot start, you might have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. Check out the max discount in the Prize Picks app this Friday at 3 p.m. through Sunday. This weekend, C.J. Stroud just needs one passing yard to win, and that's why he has made it on my Prize Picks lineup. You see that max discount right there. I got the more on half a passing yard. I also have the more on Bo Nix, 211.5 passing yards, and give me the more on Josh Allen for half a rushing touchdown. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. So late last night, the Baltimore Ravens tweeted out that we have completed our interview We've completed an interview with Mike McDaniel for our head coach position. And it feels like among the fan base and among the people covering this team, there's some growing support for Mike McDaniel. I frankly would not be thrilled about this hire as head coach, okay? Let me talk about him as a head coach for a second. My biggest thing this entire time has been I want a head coach who's going to bring back what play like a Raven means, what it's meant to this franchise for decades. It's not there anymore. It's disappeared. And I don't think I could count on Mike McDaniel to be the guy that brings that back. He doesn't scream passion, strength, courage, and intensity. He does not scream imposing one's will on opponents with a nasty, tough, and determined style of play. That is not him. He's fun. He is a guy who likes to dap people up, have handshakes. He wears sunglasses. He wears his joggers up high on his legs. He wears hoodies. He's got a big Rolex on his wrist. Like, that's Mike McDaniel. He's not a play-like-a-Raven guy. And I believe that's one of the reasons that he's struggled. He's had a lot of struggles with Miami. Did you know that when trailing at the half, he's 4-24? Did you know anytime he's got a quarterback other than Tua Tagovailoa, he's 4-11? And replay challenges, something small, but I still think important. He's 4-21. Like, how do you hit 16% of your replay challenges as head coach? And he just can't win the big one. He's had multiple opportunities to. Some of them against your Baltimore Ravens, like in 2023, when you absolutely walked all over. Now, when it comes to Mike McDaniel, I would take him as an offensive coordinator any day of the week and twice on Sundays. Literally. I think that would be an absolute home run hire if that's what Baltimore decided to do. And it might seem like it's unrealistic to have that happen, like it's just a pipe dream, but I got to remind you what the Detroit Times tweeted out just a couple days ago. Mike McDaniel would reportedly consider a great OC job rather than a not great head coaching job, per Greg Alman. I believe he's talking about Baltimore or maybe Atlanta with his past connections there, or possibly Detroit. Those are the three that come to mind. And that's the interest in Saleh as well, as those guys coach together. Okay? Multiple different stops. You hire Saleh as head coach, he brings in McDaniel as offensive coordinator, you're off to the races, man. If you want Mike McDaniel to be the Ravens' next OC, do me a big favor. Hit that thumbs up button and like today's video. That's going to do it for today's program. Make sure you guys got me followed on socials, Twitter, Instagram. Make sure you subscribe. We'll see you again tomorrow and on Sunday with a couple more videos.